In this fourth video, we continue to examine the benefits of receiving the Lord's Supper, namely the forgiveness of sins. This is what Luther's pointing out after, in our first installment of videos, he shows very simply what the writers of the Gospels and what the Apostle Paul said about the Lord's Supper, that it is the giving of Christ's body and blood for us Christians to eat and to drink in, with, and under the bread and wine. So I want to talk a little bit about that bread again in the Lord's Supper. A little review from some previous videos. We're going to talk about unleavened bread. Specifically, it means that it did not contain yeast, which causes bread to rise when baking. It was flat bread, ending up like a cracker, really, a matzah cracker, we would call it today. Leaven, or yeast, therefore became symbolic of sin, sinful behavior, and false teaching. They were to cast all the yeast out of the house during the week of unleavened bread and to make sure none of it got into the bread for the feast of the Passover. So how does the flatbread or wafer that we use do a wonderful job of making us think about Jesus' holy body sacrificed for us? So this wafer without yeast, no sin, how does that make us think of Jesus' perfect body which was sacrificed? How does the wine also do a wonderful job in making us think of Jesus' holy blood? Both Jesus' body and blood are truly present. Lastly, what does unleavened bread remind us of as we finish the Lord's Supper and walk away from it? So there's rich symbolism in this meal. Go ahead and talk about that. What does the unleavened bread, the wafer, teach us about Christ's body and remind us about him? And as we walk away from the table, what does that now remind us about you and me? And how about the wine? How might that help us? What characteristics of it? Thinking about Jesus' shed blood. As you think about those things, I want to leave with this passage, 1 Corinthians 5:7, and then we'll jump over to 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Get rid of the old yeast so that you may be a new unleavened batch, as you really are. For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. And 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you receive from God? You're not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God with your body. So you were bought at a price to cleanse you, to redeem you as you're walking away from the Lord's Supper, right? That's all being emphasized in, with, and under the wafer as we receive Christ. What does that say about your body walking away? Okay, that's all for this video. A couple more as we continue to just consider the blessings of the benefits of the Lord's Supper. We'll see you next time.